it's Sarah here at the Soapery, and today I'm going to teach you how to make Pink Clay Deodorant. Now that's a really, really lovely deodorant. It's one of the vegetarian ones that isn't vegan because it has beeswax in, but it's really, really effective as a deodorant, and it's full of lovely natural ingredients. All you need to do to begin is to download the recipe from our website. You don't need to print it out. You could just get it on your iPad and bring it up. And then have a look at the list of things you need at the side. Get those together, and I'm going to go and get them together. And then I'll come back to you and we'll go through it. It's really, really simple, and you come out with an amazing product. Okay, hi. So we've got our ingredients assembled, and we've downloaded the recipe, and you can see now that it's a recipe of 3 parts. It's a recipe of the oils and waxes, the powders, and the fragrance. Now you are not going to be doing it in this volume. I'm desperately in need of a large batch, so I'm doing them in a giant pan and a giant jug, but you're going to be doing 1/8 of this. So you're just going to need a normal sized, sturdy, heavy bottom pan, preferably one that doesn't mind having deodorant in it. So we're just going to put the oils and the butters on a low heat. Try not to use anything like a bain-marie or a slow cooker because you could be there all day. Just a pan will be fine on a low heat, and just leave it and have a cup of tea. It doesn't matter what beeswax you use for this recipe. I've actually used a little bit of the yellow beeswax and a little bit of the white beeswax because that's what I had. But you're going to, whatever beeswax you use, you're going to end up with something a very similar colour to the pink clay, because the pink clay will just come through. So it's really irrelevant. Don't worry too much about what beeswax you have. Any beeswax is good. So while that's melting, we'll talk about moulds. Now, a good mould, if you can get your hands on them, is these giant ice cube moulds, and they're also very handy to have for ice cubes as well. You can get these in Lakeland, but I have seen them in pound shops and things along the way, so they're a really cheap thing to do. We have 3 different moulds that we use for this recipe. We've got the large heart, which is this mould here. This is one from Silico Mart. We've got the rounded heart, which is our most popular one, but we've completely run out of those, so I can't show you one. And we've got my favourite, which is the rose, which comes in these brilliant moulds from Italy, a company called Pavoflex. And can you see all the roses? They're really, really good. But you don't need anything that fancy. An ice cube tray, or even a muffin tray, although they're a bit flat, a muffin tray for sort of underarm deodorant, but it would be fine. So all you need to do is get your moulds ready, pop them on something sturdy like a chopping board, so you haven't got that wobble when you've got hot oils inside them in a minute. Just prepare those while this is melting. And I'm going to have a cup of tea, and I'll get back to you when everything's melted. Okay, now that my oils and butters have melted, it's time to add the powders. So I'm just going to take that off the heat. Okay, so I've got that off the heat now, and I'm going to gradually add the powders while stirring. So there's a bit. Now you might want to stand back or wear goggles for this bit. It's not dangerous in any way. It's just that you do get a lot of powder flying everywhere, and the oils are very hot, so you don't want them splashing everywhere. And also there's a small reaction goes on between 2 of the ingredients that you might spot, and you just don't want that splashing up in your face, but you're perfectly fine not wearing goggles if you stand back a bit when you do it. So add a bit more. Stir. I don't know if you can see in pan can there. There's quite a bubbling going on. just stir it gently. You don't want to get lumps in it. You just, like you're making a sauce. So you're adding the flour or the corn flour or whatever really, really slowly so that it doesn't get too lumpy. There we go. Ooh. Oh, it all went in and it splashed everywhere. Don't do that, because that's really hot and burny. It's a good job I've got gloves on. There we go. Right, that's still quite lumpy, so what we want to do is just give it a quick zizz with a stick blender, and then it'll be all smooth. Alright, so that's a lot smoother now, so we need to keep hurrying along because it's going to get cold and it's going to set, so we need to keep going. Here's our rose essential oil, that's going to go straight in. And because it's quite hot, we don't want to give it too much of a mix or it'll start to evaporate. So just a gentle mix. But if you're in too much of a hurry like I am, you'll splash it in your face. Don't do that. Okay, so need to get some moulds. All we need to do now is, I like to put it in a jug first, but if you've got some skill, you could pour it directly into the moulds. So we'll just pour. This is a heavy pan. Pour some into a jug and start filling our moulds really gently to the top, because it will sink a little bit as it cools. So right to the top, but try not to get it over. And fill your moulds up. Hi, so it's the next day and we've put these to rest overnight, so they got really, really hard and dry, and then they've been in the freezer for a really small amount of time this morning, and we're just going to pop them out. So with any big mould like this, you want to hold it so you get a bit of air in it, and then push from the bottom and pull from the top. And there you have a deodorant bar. And then with moulds like these ones, again, you need to get a little bit of air in with your fingernails. So you just pull back like that to get the air in, and then you can pull them off. And you have a deodorant bar. Okay. There you go. Pull a little bit of the excess off like that. And there you go. Okay, I'm just going to get the rest out of the moulds. Okay, so there we have it. We have 48, or you will have 6 if you do the normal amount in the recipe, Pink Clay deodorants, and they're really effective. They smell amazing. They look lovely, apart from this one here, which was the last one I poured, and it was all a bit, you see, it was all a bit hard. Yeah, so the most effective natural deodorant that you can make yourself. And it's really fun and simple and quick to make. Leave these now. As you can see, they're getting a bit of condensation on them because they've been in the freezer, so they need to sit for a few hours just to dry out and get to room temperature again. And then they're good to use or to gift or to sell. Now, if you want to sell them yourself, that's absolutely fine. Drop me a message to sarah@sarahsoapery.com and I will send you a little email explaining what the current situation is with regards to selling cosmetics and skincare in the UK at the moment, because since Brexit it keeps changing a little bit, so I don't want to put it on a video and then it become out of date. But drop me an email and you can have your own little business making deodorant.